Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today we're doing another cake transformation video where we take box cake mix and make it into something yummy and different. Now today we are going to be turning these into donuts, but I must say this was one of the toughest cake transformations, and it's probably because I chose the super moist cake instead of just a regular plain cake. Also, I didn't have a donut mold for this, which would work a whole lot better, but if you don't have one either, then you can follow these tips so that you can make your own donuts. Now, these are not going to be your traditional deep fried donuts. These are going to be the baked donut kind, which just kind of taste a little bit more like a thicker version of cake. Now, what I'm doing here is I am taking a plastic donut that I have from my daughter's play set, and I am using some tin foil to just kind of mold that shape to create our mold. Now, unfortunately, this does use up a whole lot of tin foil, and you're not going to be able to reuse the mold. So honestly, if I were really getting into donut making, I would definitely invest in a pan. But if you just want to try out some donut making stuff without having to invest in a whole lot of new things, then this is definitely the way to go. We really want to make sure that none of the donut batter sticks to this when we try to unmold it, so I am generously putting a lot of melted butter into these molds. And just a quick mention that the bottom portion of our mold is actually what's going to form the top of the donut. Now, when trying to turn just regular box cake mix into donuts, what we want to do is we want to reduce the amount of liquid. I will link down in the description box below the exact recipe that I was following, but basically it's pretty simple. You're just reducing down that liquid. We're only going to use 1 egg, a 1/4 cup of oil, and then 1 cup of water. Now again, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like because I chose a super moist version of this cake, it doesn't turn out as thick as it should, because this was quite runny for a donut batter. When I've made donuts in the past, they're usually a bit thicker and it's very, very pipeable. So I just decided to pour this into my measuring cup and hope for the best. And I really didn't want to overfill these because these will puff up quite a bit. So I suggest you fill them only about halfway. I baked these at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes, which is the exact same temperature and duration that I use for cupcakes. And look at that, you end up with a really cute little donut. But I was a little bit worried here because the crumb was quite loose, which means that when we dip this in the glaze, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. This is where using a donut mold would help you as well, because the bottom portion of the donut mold would help keep it nice and shiny and more together and be less fluffy. This is the icing glaze that I would use all the time for my sugar cookies way back when I first started, which is basically just icing sugar, milk, and a little bit of corn syrup so that it stays nice and shiny. You'll note that the glaze is ready because when you can kind of shake it on the back of the spoon, but it remains opaque and it stays quite nicely there with a little bit of a drip, it's ready to go. Add whatever food coloring you would like. I always like to use either Americolor or Chef Master for my food coloring. I want to make this look a little bit marbled. But because the donuts were a little bit crumbly on the top, I was starting to lose some of that crumb into my glaze, so I had to thin it out just a little bit, which did make it a little bit drippier than I would like, but it still worked out. Before the icing dries, I'm going to add on some sanding sugar. I'm just using different shades of blue, and then I'm going to throw in some gold as well. My favorite donut as a kid was the Tim Hortons vanilla dip, which if you've never had one of those before, it's basically just a vanilla donut dipped in a vanilla glaze topped with a bunch of sprinkles. Now you may have noticed that I'm only going to be decorating a few donuts here because I'm going to be utilizing the other donuts for a different project. Also, my kids and husband may have snuck a few. You know, I just have to add some gold leaf on here, and I just ordered some more because I am running low. This time around though, I think I'm going to order some different colored leaf as well. Kudos to those of you that are part of the Sweetie fam if you recognize where these are from. I love having royal icing flowers on hand because you never know when you're going to use them, and I thought that they looked really, really perfect with this. And there you have it, some fancy mini donuts made from box cake mix. And I know that these aren't perfect because we have that little issue with the crumb, But I truly think that if you do just use a standard box cake mix instead of a super moist version, then you should have no issue with this. And I think if I ever tried this recipe again, I might try just exchanging that 1/4 cup of vegetable oil for butter instead. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!